And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to talk about the trailer that was released yesterday for Hard Knocks. And this is the off-season Hard Knocks, and the Giants will be featured on that. So, it just showed, some clips of Joe Schoen, talking about them going after Brian Burns. And, he was on the phone with Saquon. There was some stuff with Daniel Jones and his recovery. So that's kind of a little snippet of what we're going to see on this show. And because it is the Giants and it is my team, I want to make sure I try to check it out. And, I've never been someone that, has binged Hard Knocks, but I think it's something that I want to try to get into because they're doing a lot this season. I mean, you got the Bears that are on it, you got the Giants on it, and then you got the entire AFC North on it. So, yeah, I mean, they're trying to do a lot with this. And, that combined with what Netflix is doing with, the quarterback series, and then now you're going to have the wide receiver series. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting things that we will see with the Giants being on Hard Knocks. There's also them trying to trade up to get Drake Maye, which they failed to do. I think because they were also trying to. I think there was a possibility of them trading with the Falcons, but ultimately the Giants stayed where they were, and they they took Malik Neighbors when they saw how things were kind of unfolding. So, yeah, I mean it will be interesting. I think that one of the things that I'm interested in is the stuff that went on with Saquon. And how that all unfolded, because he said that the Giants, didn't offer him anything, and he went out and he went on and signed with the Eagles. So I'm curious to see what that's going to be all about. But yeah, it's the Giants. Look, for me, I don't think they're going to be a very good team this year. I think there's some things that you could be excited about if you're a Giant fan. I think the defensive line is something to look forward to. And seeing how, Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence are together, I think that has the potential to be a very good pass rush. I think the defense as a whole can be pretty good. The problem is, are the Giants going to be able to generate some offense? With Daniel Jones coming back, I mean, I think you're going to see I think you're going to see all three quarterbacks play throughout the year. I think you're going to see Drew Lock in some games. And I think you're going to see Tommy DeVito. I think you're going to see Tommy Cutlets play, because I just don't really have faith in Daniel Jones and his durability. I think if Daniel Jones is healthy, I think the Giants are going to win some games, but I think the Giants have to go in a different direction. And listen, I tried. And after 22, I said, hey, Daniel Jones, maybe he, you give him some weapons and you could protect him better. Maybe he can be even better. But last year, a big problem is the durability factor, because he's just been hurt so much. And I think there is ability there with him. I mean, there's, again, some throws in the playoff game against the Vikings. I was like, wow, that was throws to the sideline. I mean, he looked good in that playoff game. Now, the Vikings defense that year was terrible. But still, it's like Daniel Jones played good. Played well. And maybe he is the guy. But it's just after last year, I just don't, with Daniel Jones, I just don't see where, the Giants going on and going on a deep playoff run with this guy. I just don't see it. Now, maybe, because the Giants did address the offensive line, they got him another weapon. Maybe he goes out there and he, proves me wrong. I hope he does. I really do. Because there actually is a possibility that I will be in attendance for the Week 1 game against the Vikings. Now, I don't want to guarantee anything, but there's a possibility that I could be there. And the main reason for that is because I want to see these uniforms that they're going to be wearing in person. Those the uniforms they wore in the 50s or whatever, right? It was the 50s. They look like soccer jerseys. I want to see these jerseys in person when they take on the Vikings. So that's part of the reason why I want to go to this game. Also because It's early enough where the weather's not going to be terrible. Now, it could rain, but again, this is way down the line. We're a few months away from that. But there's a possibility I could be at that game. But mainly because of the jerseys. And maybe Daniel Jones goes out there against the Vikings and he throws 3 touchdowns, throws for over 300 yards. I'd be very happy, but I'm not expecting that. But yeah, there are definitely some things that I am interested in when it comes to the Giants and just how, the offseason went. I'm sure that the Darren Waller stuff is going to be covered in some capacity, right? I would imagine. I'm curious to see how, the NFL draft unfolded with, them not being able to trade up to get Drake Maye. But that goes to show you, like, they could say that, and we knew this, like, they said Daniel Jones was their guy, but, you're trying to get his replacement, and you weren't able to do that. And that's why Giant fans, including, my friends who are Giant fans, were aggravated because, yeah, as much as the Tommy DeVito stuff was, was fun, I never really bought into it. I never really did. It was nice to see the Giants be competitive and win those games with the games that they won with him, but because then he had, especially here where I am, it's like, oh yeah, the Giants, they still got a chance at the one of the wild cards. It's like, no, the season's been over. The season was over when they took the field against the Cowboys in Week 1. The season ended when Graham Gano lines up to kick the field goal after the Giants went right down the field, and it gets blocked, and the Cowboys ran it back for a touchdown. The season was over. And it was 40-0, the final score ended up being. And I knew the season was over. I'm like, they're not going to be good this year. And they weren't. Now, they did finish the season strong, but is that going to translate to this season? I don't know. I don't think so. I had the Giants going like 7-10. It's just, and this is Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen's 3rd year. First year we thought, wow, they are ahead of schedule. Now we're expecting them to be very good in 23. They were not. They took a step back. Massive step back. Now we got to see what they do here in year 3. And if there is improvement, if the Giants are competitive and maybe they win the 7 games, but a lot of the games they were in, and you try to get your future quarterback, I don't know how you're going to get it. If, you're winning 7 games, but who knows? It's then, you know what, then you're in a good spot if you're Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen because, then you showed improvement. But again, if you take another step back, you win even less games than you did last year. That's a problem. But I feel like I do have confidence in them. Like, I feel like they're going to get it done. They're going to get this team turned around. But it's just, I don't know. We thought Joe Judge was the guy. Was not. Even when Pat Shurmur got hired, I don't think I was, like, overjoyed by Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur wasn't the guy either. I think when Dave Gettleman came in as a general manager and was saying, talking about, the offensive linemen, the hog mollies, as he liked to say, you thought, all right, the offensive line is going to get fixed. Although, we got Andrew Thomas. So he was right on Andrew Thomas. But, yeah, it's just, it's been rough, for Giant fans. And they're, for both New York teams. It's been, they are looking for success. And could this be the year? I think at least for the Jets, there's a better chance for the Jets than it is. Well, I don't know. Well, I've been higher on the Jets. I think it's better for the Jets this year than it is for the Giants. Because the Jets with their defense and, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy and they protect him, I think the Jets are going to be good. The Giants, like I said, I'm expecting 7 wins around that. But only time will tell. So, Yeah, that's basically it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Um, would like to mention that I was at the Subway Series game last night, and yeah, as a Yankee fan, that was tough to watch. Now they did make it close at the end with the Judge grand slam, but yeah, that was rough to watch Garrett Cole get pounded like that. That was just that wasn't fun. So yeah, but baseball is in full swing. That's the big one that's still going right now. The Knicks actually made a big trade yesterday. Actually, it was funny. So Judge hits the grand slam, and then all of a sudden, my coworker, because I went with some people from work, he's screaming that the Knicks got Mikal Bridges, and that was literally all the talk. And my phone's blowing up about that. So yeah, the Knicks got a good player. So make sure to check out Nelson's show to get his thoughts on that. I'm pretty sure I would think that's what he's going to start with, but we'll see. Well, the NBA draft is also, I believe, tonight. So, so I think that might be what he starts out with. But those are the two things I would expect him to talk about. But yeah, so you got that, the NBA draft, baseball, like I said. The Stanley Cup is over. The Panthers won that. So, yeah, make sure to check out all the other shows, like I said. And don't worry, eventually we are going to get to games that we are going to talk about. We still got a little over a month before preseason, so bear with me. We will get there. And college football as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow. And as always, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.